Sophie's shadow and the silver key Sophie's shadow didn't always do what it was supposed to do. On sunny days, while other children's shadows followed them obediently, Sophie's would sometimes wave its arms when she was standing still, or do a cartwheel when she was simply walking. At first it was funny, but soon the other children at the playground would point and whisper, "Why can't you just be normal?" Sophie whispered to her feet one afternoon, her shadow stretching out long and lonely in the setting sun. That night, as she lay in bed, she saw her shadow on the wall, and it wasn't mimicking her. It was tapping on the wall, pointing insistently at the old, unused fireplace. "Stop it!" Sophie mumbled, pulling the covers up. But the shadow kept pointing. Curiosity finally 战胜 fear. Sophie crept out of bed and walked to the fireplace. Her shadow slid down the wall and onto the hearth, pointing at a loose brick right at the back. Sophie wiggled the brick. It came free with a soft scritch. Behind it, hidden in the dusty darkness, was a small silver key. It was cold to the touch and glowed with a faint, milky light. As soon as her fingers closed around it, her shadow on the hearth did a joyful flip and pointed at her bedroom door. This was clearly an invitation. Holding the key tight, Sophie followed her shadow out of her room, down the stairs, and through the quiet house. Her shadow led her to the basement door, which was always locked. It pointed at the keyhole. With a deep breath, Sophie inserted the silver key. It fit perfectly. She turned it. Click! But the door didn't open to her dusty basement. It opened to a world of swirling, soft gray mist. The ground was a pathway of other shadows, all flowing in the same direction like a silent, dark river. This was the shadow realm. Her own shadow beckoned her forward, and she stepped onto the path. Shadows of cats, dogs, birds, and people flowed around her, but they were all smooth and calm, unlike her own lively companion. Her shadow led her to a grand, gloomy palace made of forgotten memories and lost whispers. Inside, on a throne of twilight, sat a tall, slender woman with hair like smoke and a dress of deepest night. She was the Shadow Queen, and she looked very tired. "You have brought the key," the queen said, her voice like the rustle of fallen leaves. "We have been waiting." "Waiting for what?" Sophie asked. "For you," said the queen. "Your shadow is special because a piece of its heart is here. Long ago, when I was stronger, I could give all shadows a little spark of mischief and life. But my power has faded. The candle of connection has gone out, and the shadows are becoming still, forgetting how to play." She gestured to a vast, dark hall. In the center was a pedestal holding the stump of a giant, melted black candle. The silver key lay in the waxy remains. "The key can relight it," the queen explained. "But only a child with a truly loyal and playful shadow can do it. A shadow must trust its human completely to make the journey here. Yours led you to the key. It led you to us. Now, you must work together." Sophie looked at her shadow, which gave her a confident thumbs up. "What do we do?" "The spark to light the candle cannot come from me. It must come from the joy you share," said the queen. "You must dance." Sophie blushed. "Dance? Here?" "Your shadow knows the steps. You must follow its lead." The queen clapped her smoky hands, and a slow, beautiful music began to echo through the hall, the sound of moonlight on water and wind through leaves. Sophie's shadow leapt onto the dance floor. It began to move, not mimicking, but leading. It spun in a wild, joyous pirouette. It did a silly, wobbly kick. It became a leaping frog, then a soaring bird. At first, Sophie felt shy, but her shadow was so free, so happy. It was showing her its true self. She took a deep breath and stopped worrying about being normal. She started to follow. She mirrored its silly kicks. She tried the wobbly spin. She leapt when it leapt. They danced around the cold candle, faster and faster, their movements becoming a blur of girl and shadow. Sophie laughed, a real joyful laugh that echoed in the gloomy hall. As they danced, a spark, bright and golden, flickered to life between them. It grew with every spin, every leap, every shared laugh. It was a spark made of pure, playful friendship. On their final triumphant leap, Sophie and her shadow touched the spark to the candle's wick. Whoosh! A warm, golden flame burst to life on the candle. Not a dark light, but a brilliant one that filled the shadow realm with a soft, comforting glow. All through the hall, the other shadows paused in their flow. They stretched, waved their arms, did little jigs, and became themselves again before continuing on their way. The Shadow Queen stood, her weariness gone, her form now bright and strong. "You have done it," she said, her voice now like a soft chime. "The connection is restored. Thank you, Sophie. And thank you, little shadow." She handed the silver key back to Sophie. "Keep this. You are forever a friend of the shadows." Sophie's shadow gently took her hand and led her back through the misty realm, through the door, which now led to her normal basement. She closed the door, and the key vanished from her hand, though she knew it would reappear when she needed it. The next day was brilliantly sunny. At the playground, Sophie hesitated for a moment. Then she decided she didn't care what anyone thought. She did a cartwheel, and on the ground, her shadow did too. A little girl nearby giggled and pointed. "Wow, how did you do that?" Sophie smiled. "It's easy. You just have to be friends with your shadow." She looked down at the dark shape on the pavement, which gave her a cheerful wave. She waved back. She wasn't just Sophie anymore. She was Sophie, the girl who had danced in the shadow realm and saved the light for everyone. And she would never, ever ask her shadow to be normal again.